My
Good morning, One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And happy Mother's Day. And I am going to start us off with some music. Let me get it up. I was so busy chit-chatting before that I didn't get it open. Oops, didn't need to do that. I was just going to share the music and not the video. I don't think we need the video. So yeah, I'm hoping that this kind of sets the tone for the celebration of Mother's Day today. So, which is really, it's kind of a joyous occasion. It started at the beginning, Michelle.
I might be halfway through this valley, and my eyes just can't see a quick way out. And it might seem life's got it out for me, like I'm in way too deep, but I have found every single circumstance I can place in greater hands. I won't let my trouble bring me down. I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna take it everywhere I go. Not gonna worry about what I don't know. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy here in my heart, waving like a torch, fighting off the dark. In the jet black night, I'm gonna see the stars. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy. So I'll just cast my cares, won't sink into despair. I won't find answers there, only doubt. Every single circumstance I can place in greater hands. God, I know you'll never let me down. I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna take it everywhere I go. Not gonna worry about what I don't know. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy here in my heart, waving like a torch, fighting off the dark. In the jet black night, I'm gonna see the stars. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy. It's gonna be my strength, be my truth, gonna light the way and see me through. Gonna be my hope, be my shield, gonna lift me up no matter how I feel. Gonna be my strength, be my truth, gonna light the way and see me through. Gonna be my hope, be my shield, gonna lift me up no matter how I feel. I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna take it everywhere I go. Not gonna worry about what I don't know. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy here in my heart, waving like a torch, fighting off the dark. In the jet black night, I'm gonna see the stars. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy. I'll be alright as long as I've got joy.
That's the way to wake us up. Joy. I love that song. That's such a great one. Oh, and it really speaks to just taking it with you wherever you go and let that kind of be the atmosphere that you live in. So I think that's beautiful. So hi, Ralane. I am going to invite Ralane to pray us in, say a few words. I know she has a story, so that's always fun. You're muted, sweetheart.
Thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, I'm going to pray us in and then I'll tell a story. Okay, so let's pray. That song is a little hard act to follow. All that joy. Whew, that felt good. Okay, so let's just feel that joy continuously rising up within us and flowing in and of and through our entire beingness, our divine beingness, and just feeling that joy, expressing that joy, living that joy, loving, being joyful, and just connecting in with the oneness of everything, the oneness of God, the oneness of joy and spirit and compassion and unity and camaraderie and connection, friendship, relationships, love, light, energy, all that good stuff. And just feeling the oneness. And we just celebrate Mother's Day. We know that we include Mother Earth planet. And we're so grateful for this community, for each and every one of you, for all of you being here, for Reverend Michelle. We just really have just such a wonderfully unique, connecting, loving, compassionate, joyful community of friends. And so I'm so grateful for this morning service. I'm grateful to be speaking this morning. And I just love you guys. And we just release this prayer into divine law, knowing it is already so. And we simply say, so it is. Okay. I'm going to tell a story about a man on Mother's Day. His name's Adam. And Adam was, as a child and a young person, he loved to adventure. And he loved to go walking and trekking and hitchhiking when he got into his 20s. He went throughout the United States and other countries. He particularly liked walking, doing walking trips. But then he got older and he sort of put all that on the back burner. And he got in a long-term relationship and they broke up. And so he was feeling very discouraged. And he decided that maybe he wanted to resume his adventurous spirit again. And he decided to go walking. And so he went walking out of country somewhere and pretty much did it mostly walking and just loved meeting the people. And he was different because he was a foreigner there. And so they would always kind of talk to him. And, he really enjoyed it. So when he got back, he decided that he still wanted to do more adventuring, but this time he wanted to go from one part of England, UK, to the other part of UK, a 700-mile trip. But he was a little bit wondering, he's a 43-year-old white man, an Englishman, and the people might be not so interested in talking with him because he wasn't so different. So he decided to go to and he wasn't that good at meeting strangers and talking with strangers. So he decided to go to Alwood Donkeys, which is a farm, and he decided to get a pack animal. And he went there a few times and he found this one donkey that he particularly wanted to bring with him on the trip. And the people at the farm are very supportive of him and said, yes, this donkey would be a good choice. He's not too social with the other donkeys. And so he chose him. And they said, he doesn't have a name, so you could name him if you'd like. And he said, okay, great. And he named him Martin. Okay, so Martin and Adam took off on this 700-mile trip from one end of UK to the other. Well, 6 weeks into it, it wasn't going too well. And the terrain, it was very moorland and rocky and craggy, and just difficult to maneuver. A lot of biting insects. It wasn't quite the trip that he was hoping it to be, and he was getting more and more discouraged at him. And he didn't even think Martin was having any fun. So he had some really difficult times. He was so sad and despondent, he would fall to his knees and cry, because he just didn't want to give up, but he just didn't know what to do. And then one particularly difficult day, he was trying to get Martin to cross a bog, and Martin wasn't having any of it. He was not going to cross this bog. And Adam got really angry at Martin, and then he felt horrible afterward. He felt so guilty. And so he started, trying to think about whether he really wanted to do this trip or not. And one of the good things out of the trip was that everybody in England wanted to meet Martin. And so they would invite him into their land and they could camp because they were so excited to meet Martin. And they would bring him food, hot food and coffee, and even snacks for Martin. So that was really working well, that Martin was getting a lot of, it was helping Adam. Um, but one of the things that Adam didn't realize was that donkeys are very smart and they have independent decision-making abilities. And the reason why he wasn't going to cross that bog is it wasn't safe. And so he was really trying to help his partner. And I think on some level, Adam realized that. And so he decided that really what needed to happen in the relationship was that they had to have trust with one another. And so what he decided to do was to make the day geared around Martin's happiness to the extent he could. So every day, he tried to make Martin's day a happy day. And what he was surprised about was that he became happy, Adam, helping Martin feel happy. And all of a sudden, he was really surprised. Martin became very affectionate with Adam. And he started putting his little nose, and donkeys have those really cute little noses. And he'd put his nose in his crook of his arm, and then he'd lean on him. And every night he'd lean more harder into Adam. And all of a sudden, Adam was really feeling happy. He was getting faith in people again because they were so nice with Adam. And then I think he really loved the affection that he was getting from Martin. And I know Martin was obviously giving him cues that he was happy. So this was going quite well for the two of them. And so, they continued on working together, and they actually completed the trip. And at the end of the trip, um, Adam decided to purchase Martin, but he still had him stay at the farm. And he paid for his food and his board, and then he visited him regularly, a few times a month. And they've gone on walks together. They went to Scotland for a month, and they went some other places. And so this is a sweet story, but yet I think it has a lot to do with relationships and friendships because it has to do with trust. How do we trust one another? And then it has to do with love and affection and caring for one another. And I think too, Adam started believing in other people, but most importantly, he started believing in himself. And then look at Martin. He got a name. Before that, he had no name. And he got a lifelong friend in Adam. So, and I'm sure that when Martin went back to the farm, he made a lot of donkey friends after that because of all his travels with Adam, and especially having a human friend forever. And so I just feel that there's a lot of learning and knowledge and wisdoms in interspecies relationships. And I think in the olden days, people were around farm animals and wildlife a lot more than they are now. And I think that it's important for us to realize how interspecies relationships can help us be better people and be better at being who we are and better connected with those that we love.
What
And
a
that's
beautiful story. You know what I got out of that, Ralane, is that, and we teach this it's a spiritual principle, that whatever we give away, we receive.
yes. Yes.
How beautiful. Oh, God, that's beautiful.
Oh,
I was gonna, go
You
ahead.
want to show the picture?
Oh, did you send me the picture?
Yeah.
Sorry. Was it on a text or on an email?
Um, text. You don't have to do it if it's
I
hard.
don't know if I can do it from text. I'd have to send it to my email and then I'll see if I can do it by the end of the talk.
Yeah, no worries. It's a cute picture.
Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No worries.
All right. So I was going to play this song at the end of the service, but it goes so perfectly with your story that I'm going to play it now, and then I'll just switch the.
Okay, and then do you want me to do the
Oh,
affirmation?
yes. Thank you for reminding me. I'll get it. We have May's affirmation right here.
Okay, got it. As spring awakens the earth, so spring awakens in my soul. New life, new ideas, and a new joy blossom within me now. I am rooted in divine mind and infinite potential. Every moment is a fresh beginning. I rise in joy, and so it is.
I like that. All right, so here is the song. Is it here? It is right here. I think I'm just going to play the music. I find that it works a little better sometimes. All right. Hoping. Let's see. Yeah, you should be able to hear it.
I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. I see the child in you. I see the sweetness in you. I see the softness in you, and so it is. I can see it. It's right there before me. I can feel it deep in my soul. I just know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the goodness in you. I see the wisdom in you. I see the strength in you, and so it is. I see the joy that's in you. I see your light shining through. I see the love that's in you, and so it is. I can see it. It's right there before me. I can feel it deep in my soul. I just know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the grace that's in you. I see the courage in you, and I see the heart that's in you, and so it is. And I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. I see the beauty in you. I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the power in you. And I see the greatness in you. I see the greatness in you. And I see the goodness in you now. I see the goodness in you. And I see the wisdom in you. I see the wisdom in you. Oh, I see your strength, your strength. I see the strength in you. And I see your joy, joy, joy. I see the joy in you. And I see your light shining, light. I see the light in you. And I feel the love that's in you. I see the love in you. And I see the grace that's in you. I see the grace in you. And I see the courage in you. I see the courage in you. And I see the heart in you. I see the heart in you. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is.
Oh, that was beautiful. And I just think that speaks to that idea of relationships. let's see, I got the picture. Here is Adam and Martin. Can you see Adam and Martin? He's so cute, Martin. Adam's cute too, but Martin's really cute. How adorable is he? Oh, all right.
Thanks, Michelle.
Oh, you're welcome. He's just a doll. Thank you for sending that. I had seen the camera's fuzzy. I'm gonna try and fix it. I had seen the picture, but I didn't realize that you wanted me to share it. But anyway, now I did. Thank you for that. Oh, well, again, happy Mother's Day. You know, welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And as I always like to say, because I know people do watch the replay, is whether you're joining us in real time or replay, that I'm just glad you're connecting with us. I have noticed a real uptick in our how many people are connecting with our Facebook page. So I did stream to Facebook today because I think that we're making an impact. We're expanding our touch in the world, and that means a lot to me. So I know that I trust that you'll find something in this service that uplifts you and touches that place in you that knows that you're divine, that feels your divinity. So again, happy Mother's Day, whether you're a biological mom or an adoptive mom, or if you have ever mothered anyone or anything in any way, happy Mother's Day. Because today we honor and celebrate the energy and the love that mothers and caregivers share with us. And we also know, as metaphysicians, that within each and every one of us, regardless of our gender, is the presence of the divine feminine, which is the quality of the divine that lovingly receives the divine impulse and nurtures it and brings it into form. So today, as well as celebrating all our human mothers of any kind, we also celebrate the sacred principle of the divine feminine, the qualities that are intuition and compassion, receptivity and nurturing. You know, the divine feminine receives the seed idea from the divine masculine, and she holds it and she nurtures it and she gives it life. She brings it into substance and into experience. And you know, we know that it's this harmonious union of masculine and feminine aspects of the divine that are necessary for creation to take place. You know, it's the seed in the soil. Ernest Holmes, our founder, referred to it as the balanced consciousness, fully expressing both the masculine aspects of, and he called the masculine aspects will, word, wisdom, and the feminine aspects of love and intuition and substance. And I talked about this during the meditation, but it seems to me, and this is kind of an aside, that in our modern world, we're experiencing an imbalance of the masculine and the feminine aspect, that there's been a strong tilt, if you will, towards the masculine and a neglect or even a suppression of the feminine aspects. And, you know, there's been kind of a skewed or distorted sense of the masculine, which really has been the driving force on our planet for a very long time. And in my view, much of the disturbance, the inequality, the greed, the constriction of freedoms that we see around the world is being revealed because this imbalance is unsustainable. You know, there's a universal principle of harmony and balance, and that principle creates the space for the infinite potential of the divine to emerge, and that potential is always balanced and in divine order, and it makes the space for freedom. And we know that there has to be freedom for life to express, and it has to be grounded in the universal principle of love. And it seems to me that the imbalance is being revealed so that we can bring it back into balance. both masculine and feminine aspects are necessary for the expression of order, peace, love, harmony, to fill our world, to fill our lives and our experiences as human beings. But here's where I always go. It is my firm knowing, I'm moving beyond belief these days, my firm knowing that whatever needs to be healed or brought into the light, into the love and the wholeness of God, will reveal itself to us. And that's how the law works. It works both individually and it works collectively. And I think we're seeing it work in our world right now in a collective way. So that's how I feel about that. But today we honor Mother's Day and the divine feminine aspect of creation, which, just like creative law, is receptive and it responds to our thoughts and our feelings. Again, Ernest Holmes said that universal law acts like a mother. I loved that. I ran across that this time looking up the word mother. I had never heard him say that before. He said that universal law acts like a mother. It takes our thoughts, the seed idea, and it nurtures it into form. It births all form. And we'll talk about the divine masculine next month when we celebrate Father's Day. But, I can't help but think of the way that Jesus honored the feminine, which was like wildly against the grain for the time when he lived. He never actually used the word the divine feminine, but he clearly had a deep respect for women and the feminine energy. He treated women with radical respect for the time in which he lived. Mary Magdalene, Martha, and there were other women who are mentioned among his followers. And you might remember the woman at the well. He gave her all this spiritual wisdom, which showed respect for women as beings capable of divine understanding and expressions of God. In the Beatitudes, he spoke about honoring meekness and mercy and peacemaking and purity of heart, all associated with feminine aspects of the divine. His entire ministry really was one of care and compassion and radical forgiveness. I found this one quote that I thought was really sweet. I talked about, it's in, what was it? It was in Matthew. And he wrote, how often have I desired to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under its wings. That's just such a maternal and protective image of divine love, and he just seemed to be in balance between the masculine and the feminine aspects of creation of God. So this entire month, our focus is on advocating for or nurturing and caring for ourselves. And by fully standing in the divine truth of who we are, extending that love and grace to others, we're in service to the whole. Caring for ourselves becomes caring for the whole. Last week, just like the story of Martin, once he started to give his love to the donkey, he started to receive that love. He made the space for it. It was big and it allowed love to thrive for that extension of deep love, connection. So anyway, last week we talked about advocating for ourselves. And this week our topic is about nurturing healthy connections, just like in Ralane's story, while we advocate for ourselves, but which also means establishing healthy boundaries. And when I first saw this idea, I thought, do I really want to talk about boundaries? Seems kind of constrictive. But after reading about it, thinking about it, and pondering its real meaning, I've come away with a different idea. And I honestly think that it ties in really nicely to the idea of the divine feminine. The qualities of the divine feminine, love, receptivity, nurturing, they create this environment where the life of God can flourish and it can thrive. It's an environment where spirit can really express itself. And just like that, creating healthy boundaries for ourselves, it creates this kind of sacred space where love and creativity and truth can flow. You know, we have to have, if we're just taking in what the world is pushing in on us, well, we haven't got the space and the freedom to be who we are, to create that nurturing environment where we can really express ourselves. And honestly, from a spiritual perspective, keeping personal boundaries isn't an act of separation or rejection. It's a sacred affirmation of our inherent worth and the divine presence within us. You know, personal boundaries are actually rooted in love and compassion for ourselves and then for others. Personal boundaries are an acknowledgement that the divine presence within us is sacred and it's worthy of our care. And from this perspective, personal boundaries are expressions of self-respect and alignment with the divine presence that we are. You know, we're responsible for creating a personal space where we can thrive. We're responsible for that. So when we set personal boundaries, we're not building walls. We're creating an atmosphere of care. We're saying, I love you, but I also love myself enough to be honest with myself about what I can hold and what I can't. You know, I was listening to Michael Beck. I keep tripping on my tongue today. I was listening to Michael Beckwith's talk, his podcast that he does the other day, and he had this metaphor that I thought was really apt here. He said that we have to be like, you know, an astronaut. An astronaut, when he goes into space, he's responsible for creating an environment in which he can live, in which he can thrive. You know, and I think we can see boundary keeping in this way, making sure we're grounded in this high vibrational resonance of God as we move through our day, you know, kind of living in an atmosphere of peace and love and compassion and joy, taking it with us wherever we go. That's why I picked that song that we started the service off with, because he said he takes joy everywhere he goes. That's what we do when we create this personal space and boundaries, is we take where we want to live, how we want to live, that vibrational resonance with us wherever we go. And this not only serves us, it serves everybody we meet. And I was thinking about, thank you for this, Gisela. I was thinking a lot about that line that Reverend Gisela used in our Tuesday evening class. There is no private good. God, I love that. It's so true. In our oneness with God, our good is grounded in love and wholeness, and our good and love and all of that serves the whole. If God, Spirit, the divine is expressing through us, then honoring our needs is not selfish. It's just good stewardship of the sacred that we are and that everyone else is as well. It honors ourselves, it honors everyone else, it honors everything. When our boundaries are rooted in love and not fear, not, oh, I got to keep you away, but here's who I am. I'm radiating this energy. This is where I live. Then our boundaries become these safe spaces where we can speak truth. And that's the space where we really do allow ourselves to make meaningful connections. You know, I said last week, people can tell if we're not speaking truth. They can tell if we're not being sincere. And when we have that sacred space of love, it's a safe place to speak from love and speak our truth. So I have a story, of course, about creating healthy boundaries and how that supports creating these deep, loving connections with all people. So here's the story. The story goes that there's Maya, a spiritual woman, and she was known by everyone for her warmth and her compassion. Her home was always open, both literally and kind of energetically. She loved being in service, and she looked for the God, the good in everyone she met, and she saw it. You know, she believed in saying yes to life. But over time, her spirit began to feel kind of threadbare. You know, her days seemed to be filled with constant requests, friends needing her time, co-workers leaning on her, and her family expected her to be always available whenever they called. So one evening she sat in meditation and she asked for guidance, and in this quiet voice, we always know what that inner voice feels like, said in her mind, the garden must have a gate. The garden must have a gate. And she saw kind of in the inner vision of the image of a beautiful garden, kind of lush and sacred, full of the divine presence. But in some places it was trampled by people who had entered without any kind of reverence or any kind of respect. And she realized that boundaries weren't walls to keep people out, but invitations to enter into the sacred awareness of the divine presence in everyone and in everything. And she wasn't asking people to do that because she wasn't doing it herself. So the next day, Maya lovingly declined a request from a friend who often kind of unloaded on her emotionally without ever reciprocating. And she just simply said, listen, I love you, but I need to rest today. Let's talk another time when I can be fully present. And surprisingly, her friend said, well, thank you. I didn't realize how much I'd been leaning on you. You know, I need to learn to care for myself too. And just that small shift opened up a whole new level of honesty and equality in their friendship, you know, where they were actually able to be really completely honest with each other. And Maya noticed that people who truly respected her began to rise to meet her where she was. You know, they began to reciprocate, and her connections deepened, not because she gave more and more, but because she gave from wholeness and not depletion. You know, I'm thinking of that line, you can't give from an empty glass. You know, you can only give from a full glass. You know, and I think we could say that Maya's newfound ability to set these healthy personal boundaries really brought her into alignment with the divine feminine. You know, she created like this sacred container that not only honored her own life, but it honored all life. And she trusted that true connection comes out of this authenticity, you know, not a misguided belief that if we want to be loved or have friends, we have to do it at our own expense. You know, it's a belief in our own wholeness and in the peace that resides within us, and it creates joy. You know, honestly, boundaries are an act of love, and not everybody is going to take your boundaries nicely. You know, Maya's friend did, but not everybody is, and that's okay too. You know, it's their lesson too, but we have to stand up and be responsible for this space that we create and for nurturing ourselves as we allow ourselves to nurture others. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. You know, I've shared with you before my own story of codependency with my son. You know, he's in the past struggled with alcoholism, and I was such a perfect codependent, always trying to make things better, to clean up his messes, to fix him, to support him, to my own detriment. And it wasn't until I changed that he changed. You know, it was much like Maya's story. At first, it was just me that changed. My response to him changed, and he wasn't really always happy about it. But my way of responding to his drama, you know, I was just like, I'm not going to participate. And I started showing up with this kind of loving honesty, and it felt really strange to me at first, but it really did shift the whole dynamic of our entire relationship. And as I got more comfortable with this new way of showing up, our relationship completely changed. And now we have a much more loving and honest relationship, and he knows what I can deal with and what I can't. So it really does work. And we really do have to honor that space in our own heart, in our own soul. You know, one of the most basic spiritual principles that Science of Mind teaches that we stand on is the principle of oneness. You know, we hold oneness, as honestly, pretty much every other spiritual tradition, as this unchangeable, this constant a universal truth. You know, it's really the fabric of the universe, that everything is interconnected. And Ernest Holmes said, and I'm just going to paraphrase this here, that there's only one mind, right? One source, one presence expressing as all creation. And he said that when we live in harmony with this source, we experience peace and love and spiritual power. And quantum physics has validated the principle of oneness. It's proven our interconnectedness, that all life comes from a single source and is interconnected, you know, through quantum physics principles like the observer effect, entanglement, non-locality, principles that I have just a very cursory understanding of, but I get the idea. But they've been proven to be true, and they can only be true if everything is interconnected. And while we may be able to have a scientific understanding of our oneness, and we may have a spiritual embodiment of that truth, when we move into moments of deep, intimate connection with the presence, it's quite another thing to take this understanding, even our personal experience of wonder, of oneness, and live it out in the world, to live it in our daily lives. That is spirituality, the advanced course, to be able to apply these principles in our daily life, to apply them to everything. And I used to think that living my oneness meant saying yes to everything and giving myself fully into the service of others, kind of dissolving my individuality in a way. But I've come to understand that oneness also means acknowledging the divine order of our unique nature, that I have to honor this presence that has come here to express itself in its uniqueness, you know, honoring that divine expression of a greater whole, you know. And oneness is not sameness. It's not about merging or losing ourselves. It's really about recognizing our shared source, and at the same time honoring our unique expression of it, and nurturing that and cultivating that and making that space where it can happen, you know. And there are some very clear ways that we can live the principle of oneness while still honoring our healthy personal boundaries. You know, we can practice compassionate listening. You know, that is just being present with someone. Often a person facing a challenge just needs to be heard. They just want to feel a loving presence. And we can listen deeply without absorbing the other person's pain, just by listening with compassion. You know, we can be there for someone without carrying their energy. You know, and as I've said before, compassion supports and loves and holds open the space for a greater yet to be, for a greater possibility to emerge from the one that we're listening to. It holds what's possible. It stands in spiritual principle. We can hold the space without losing ourselves in the other person's energy. You know, I always tell that funny little analogy about how a firefighter doesn't run into a burning building, sit down and commiserate with the people trapped inside about how hot it is in here. We don't have to feel the heat ourselves to show up as loving support. You know, another way is we can say no with love. We can honor ourselves and others by recognizing that oneness doesn't mean self-sacrifice. You know, we can lovingly decline a request that we know would drain us or cause us to feel resentment, or we can trust that the truth of how we're feeling will actually serve the other person. I actually just did this. My son Justin asked me to take him to the airport, which I did yesterday. And he wanted me to pick him up next Saturday at 10:30 at night. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And so I just said, listen, I love you, but you know, I'll pay for your lift. I'm not going to do it. And he completely understood. And just my being able to be honest about that really served us both. It kind of opened a big conversation for us when I took him down to the airport yesterday. We can say no lovingly, stand in our own truth, and still serve. We can serve others without losing ourselves. We all know the idea that we can't give from an empty glass. And, I said that a few minutes ago. When we serve others, a good check-in question for me is, am I giving from fullness or from fear? Fear of not being liked or not being loved, or, oh, maybe they'll be mad at me. I can love this person, but I don't have to sacrifice my own good. It's not for the good of all. I can serve them and have compassion for them without trying to fix them or to fix the situation. We can stand in our own truth. So one more story before I end. There's a story about a healer in a small village. His name is Tariq. And people came to him with grief and illness and heartbreak. And he always listened deeply, and he felt every emotion as if it was his own, and after each visit, he would lie awake, at night, not able to sleep, heavy with sorrow. He'd pray very hard for the suffering of the other person to be fixed. And then one day, an elder healer passed through their village and he watched Tariq work. And the elder didn't say anything to Tariq at all. But the next morning, he left a small gift for him. He left a river stone wrapped in cloth with a note. And the note read, and I love this, "The river carries everything, but it does not become what it carries." Oh, I love that. We can be present with it without taking it on as our own. The river carries everything, but it does not become what it carries. And Tariq was puzzled at first, but on that same day, a woman came to him and she was weeping. She was so distraught about her son's addiction. And as usual, Tariq felt the urge to take it all on, her pain, her guilt, her urgency, and something in him paused. And his hand went down in his pocket and he held the river stone. And he breathed. Oh, breath is so magical. And he listened and he loved, but he didn't try to rescue her. He didn't offer a solution. He was just present with the woman. And he said, you're not alone. I'll hold you in prayer. I trust the spirit within you and within your son to awaken and feel the reality of who they are. The woman went away feeling lighter and better. And because Tariq didn't take on her entire burden, he felt better too. And after that, Tariq always carried the stone in his pocket. And he knew that true oneness really can just see with compassion, but honor ourselves as well. To honor us as unique individuals and the other person as a unique individual on their own path. Being compassionate doesn't mean we have to fix others. We can serve as a kind of a loving witness to each other's perfection and hold the space for the expression of that perfection, but we can say to ourselves as we love and support others, I am one with all of life, and I honor the divine within myself, and I honor the divine within others. But my boundaries are sacred expressions of self-love that allow me to give and to receive with clarity and compassion and truth. And so it is. So let me just pray on that. I'm kind of in the space. So let's take a deep breath in and know together that all there is God. All there is divine order and perfection of the expression of this one source in which we are all shared. We are one here. And we are held in its divine embrace, its love, its peace, its joy. And it's here that we hold this truth and express it for ourselves and others. So I speak my word right here, right now, this powerful word that is resonating with this vibration of truth within me, that this is how we individually and collectively express our truth. That we are all unique expressions of the one on our own divine path. And while we honor our own truth, we honor each other. We honor the collective experience and expansion of humanity itself. And so I just am so grateful for this. I sit in gratitude, expanding, expanding, expanding. So I relax in knowing that all is well. And that as I have spoken these powerful words, they are coming into experience and expression and form. So for that and so much more, we simply say thank you, allow it to be, and say, and so it is. So it was very fun. I'm going to put us back on gallery view here. For me to explore the idea of boundaries, because I realized how far I've come because I was not really good at it before. But you know, with practice and with just recognizing who we are, we get better and better at it. So yay. So I know I looked at who was doing the sacred giving, but I'll be done. Rob!
I looked too, and remembered.
Oh, that's good. I don't know if I did. Do I need to put up the ways of giving? Probably not.
Probably not. Everybody knows that we mostly give by Venmo or by sending checks to Michelle. And if anybody has forgotten that, their address should be more than happy to respond to any kind of communication you might come up with. We appreciate everybody's offerings, always deeply appreciated, because that makes us possible to exist here. Don't forget, as Michelle mentioned recently, the unexpected or unscheduled income, if you should run into it, any amount is welcome. I got a check here for unexpected for $761.95 that I was not expecting. And I don't even know what it's for. And I could make a phone call and find out, but it doesn't really matter. It all comes from one place anyway, be honest. So just bear in mind the places the ways you can give, and our sacred giving declaration here is: everything flows from the nature of God's good. We give and receive from this flow in gratitude and love. We rest in the infinite giving nature of spirit, and so it is.
Thank you, Rob. And yeah, I just wanted to mention, I think I mentioned in my talk that we have our Facebook page is up 622 views, which is phenomenal. So I did stream to Facebook today, and I was thinking that I will post more on Facebook. So if you guys are haven't liked our Facebook page, if you do that, I'm going to post some more stuff on there just to keep us more active and the expansion going. So as far as announcements, Monday evening, we have our prayer group. So that'll be tomorrow. And then Tuesday evening, we'll be doing, I think it's chapter 4. It's all about vibes, this one. I can't remember. It's all about vibration, which I love. And that's from The Universe Has Your Back, a book we've been reading together. And if you don't have a chance to read it, just pop on anyway. We love to see you and we love to hear from you. So, and in June, the first week in June, we will be up at Ulm again. So we have that to look forward to. And yeah, I think that's about it. I know they just had the prayer group last Wednesday, so it won't be this Wednesday, but the following. I think, yeah, makes sense. And I want to thank Ralane. Ralane, I love that story. And it fits so perfectly with today's talk, that way of our good is another's good. What we give away, we receive. It was beautiful and perfect. And I loved the picture too. So, that's great. And I think that's about it. Rob, I'm going to come back to you and ask you to do the benediction, and then I have a closing song.
Okay, I'm up. Hey, everybody, just sit back and feel the goodness of the room and all parts beyond. Feel the goodness of God and know right now that through the agency of the great feminine, through the receptiveness that is all of our birthright, that everything comes from God and we are able to receive it right now. We are able to receive the feeling of the love, the warmth of the love that flows out of God continuously, flows to us, envelops us. We can feel that love right now. We can feel the peace of God right now through our ability to receive. Through our ability to receive, we are able to feel the goodness of the joy of God continuously, and all aspects of God. The inspiration that comes to us, we can receive that. We can receive the material blessings through this ability to accept that which comes from God, and we can even enjoy the camaraderie that we have here. That comes from God too. It's all God all the time. And I am so grateful that this is so, and I am so grateful for this service, for each and every one of us. There may be just 9 of us on this Zoom call, 10 if you count Bella, but I am knowing that this is plenty. This is what we have right here is perfect, and we are open to having more people here. But right now, this is just delightful being here with each and every one of you. So I am thankful to God. I am grateful for what we have here, for this service, for the insights, for the wisdom, for Reverend Michelle, for Ralane, and even for Martin the donkey. I am grateful for it all. I do give my thanks. I release this word into the universe, and together we say, and so it is.
That was really beautiful. Very uplifting. Oh, thank you, Rob. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I picked this song. It's a Beatles song, and it's Let It Be, and he talks about Mother Mary comes to me, and I saw, probably many of you know this, his mother came to him in a dream after she had passed, and he was going through a difficult time in his life, and he received some deep insight from her. So somehow or another, it just seemed very appropriate for Mother's Day. So I'm going to play it.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. But though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Yeah, there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Yeah, let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Oh, there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Oh, there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Let it be. I think he said that that was the message that he received, to just let it be. So, thank you all. My heart is full. I am going to start up our recording right now.